Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FYE Talks podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hutchinson, and we're here today with a special guest from the Educational Opportunities Center, and she's going to give us a little bit of a rundown on college readiness and how to get there, which is something we all definitely can use.
My name's Stacy Bishop. I do work for the Educational Opportunities Center. We're here to help students get into college wherever they'd like to go. So we do a lot with college readiness, of course. So feel free to ask whatever you'd like.
Awesome. And so, Stacy, if you were to say, here's kind of like the top 5 things you need to take care of in order to be college ready, or give us an idea of some of the things, those common missteps students either miss, they don't know, to get college ready in general.
The first, of course, is going to be your FAFSA. That's going to be one of the biggest things that you could possibly do because it does, of course, see how much federal aid you might get, but also it's very important for scholarships anymore. All of the ones here at ECTC use what's called Central Kentucky Community Foundation grant scholarships. I can't talk today, sorry. And those all require having your FAFSA done, all right? The Work Ready Scholarship requires the FAFSA to be done, okay? So it's really, really important. Having your test scores is not as important now as it has been in the past, but of course it is very good because, again, scholarships also so often require that. Most of the time with test scores, you have to be what's considered benchmark, okay, which for the state of Kentucky is 18 in reading, 20 in English, and 22 in math, okay? So just kind of keep an eye on your scores if you're in high school. Of course, if you're in college, if you're already in college or looking to come back as an adult learner, that's not as big deal because we can always here take the TABE test, okay? As far as everything else, we really need to make you look at your timing, okay? When to look at different things. Scholarships tend to come open in January, so that's right around the corner. And those are really my big three, if that makes sense: financial aid, testing, and scholarships. Does that make sense? Because of the timing issues around that.
Absolutely. And so I think a lot of people just don't understand really just to begin with the FAFSA. I feel like
Right.
that's such an entity to people. So can you give us a little bit of information about what is the FAFSA and kind of maybe some tips that you would give to make sure that that's done one on time and two correctly?
No worries, absolutely. It's a lot easier now than it used to be, honestly. Okay. And the biggest thing is because they have what's called the IRS data retrieval tool now, which allows students and parents to bring over their taxes from that year. Okay. It is still a good idea to have your taxes nearby when you're doing the FAFSA. Okay. Because you have to put in your address exactly how it is on that tax return for it to be pulled over. So that's a big thing there. That is really important as far as just having that information to make sure that you do it correctly, okay? Because that's really the worst part that's going to be problematic is if you don't know that address, because then you have to put in everything manually, and it can be a headache. Don't worry, but it's very much doable. Another thing too is to do it as early as possible. It opens up October 1st of every year, okay? But you are definitely okay doing that within, between the first and Christmas, okay? The reason being is because state grants usually don't run out until about summertime at some point, especially here in this state, where we've got the CAP grant and the Kentucky tuition grant, which is for private colleges, okay? So you've got a lot of options, but make sure that you do it early as possible. Because really, honestly, the longest thing that's going to take you to do is probably going to be creating your ID, okay? Because you have to create security codes, everything like that. But once you're actually in the FAFSA, everything comes over from that FSA ID except for the tax information. Um, if a student has been in foster care or adoption, there's different paperwork for that. So just make sure to ask. Okay, that's not a problem. EOC, of course, or the financial aid office of wherever you attend would be more than happy to help.
Absolutely. And so there's a lot of resources here on campus that can help you fill out your FAFSA and make sure that that's done correctly, kind of walk you through it. I know something personally is making sure that you have that login information. My goodness, if you lose that password, you're going to be in a world of hurt. I think you have to call the actual FAFSA
They've
chapter.
made it a little easier now because now have to register an email and a phone number, or a phone number, I should say, not both. You have to have one or
Gotcha.
the other when you create it. So that way you at least have one way of getting that to you. Because, like you said, if you do the security questions, you may have put in a capitalization that you didn't remember. I mean, there's a lot of issues with the security questions, and then it locks you out for 30 minutes. So it's just much easier to attach it to an email or a phone number.
Definitely, definitely. And so moving on from that, as far as test scores, so a lot of students do test in high school. They take the ACT. If they don't meet benchmark, what options are available for them?
Well, they actually have quite a bit, and I'm going to stick to ECTC because that's what I know. Okay.
Definitely.
We, of course, have where you can take some classes and get you up to the college level, or you can actually take the TAPE test and try to get out of that. It's up to you completely as to which variation you do. A couple extra classes might not be bad for some people, just to get them kind of into the groove of everything, and actually kind of just make it a little easier first semester just to get back into the habit, especially if they've been out of school for a while.
Absolutely. And so we have a lot of great tutors here as well who would love to work with you and kind of refresh anything. Math was never a good subject for me. And so it was really helpful to have tutors available to kind of say, okay, I don't know this part, but this part I'm okay, and really work through that. And so we've done our FAFSA, we've got our test scores in place. When it comes down to kind of the lesser known aspects of college, to me, that would be the maturity, the time management, things like that. What are some issues that you often see when you're helping new students, make that transition from high school to college where they just don't think about it or they're underestimating something?
One thing definitely is taking too many classes. I've seen people who want to take 6 or 7 classes, and it's really not recommended because that is a lot at one time. Okay. Also, really, a lot of people at this point do not know what they want to do. Okay, and that's absolutely fine. I would always suggest at that point just to start in more of a general program and then kind of do your research. Your program in particular, in that class, the FYE class, can really help a person figure out what they want to do with a lot of the career exploration that you guys go through. Do you mind explaining that just a little bit more?
Absolutely. And so the FYE program, the FYE class, both, they're two separate things, work to really facilitate getting that career in place before you get to the bachelor level. And so it's really good to know, as Miss Stacy said, you don't have to know when you come in what you want to do, but you definitely want to have a good idea before you go to the bachelor level, because that's a lot of times where loans come into, question, and then you've got to make a lot of big decisions about declaring a major, things like that. And so the FYE program and the class go over a lot of different programs, different options, pathways. There's tons of information about different majors all over Kentucky and kind of what they look like. We partner with different programs to bring people in to say, this is what I do, and this is what it's going to look like when you get on to nursing or to whatever it is that you might be doing. And so I highly recommend, it's a requirement for most students, but I highly recommend taking that first year experience class if you are the least bit uncertain, because it's going to, at the very least, give you a sounding board to say, I'm thinking about social work. I'm thinking about, psychology, whatever the case may be, nursing, and to have an instructor who is informed in career readiness and informed in what those majors look like and informed in how it's going to go long term to say, that's a great idea. Or, have you thought about this? Have you considered the time, management? Have you considered this? Have you considered that you don't really like math and that's going to, be a lot of math? Things like that. So yeah, definitely ask about that. And the success coaches, myself and Miss Pam, would love to, go back and forth on anything that you would like to know about that. And so, Stacy, can you give me a little bit more information on what EOC does? Because we've been talking about, college readiness transitioning, and that is your program. It's what you do. And so how can EOC help us move from high school to college seamlessly?
As you said, that's essentially what we're here for. We are here to help students get into college. Okay. Any barriers that might be in place, we want to get past those. Okay. It could be so much as making sure that the FAFSA is done correctly. If it's done already, we can look over it, make sure everything looks good. Help with verification, which is a process where the Department of Ed chooses people at random, 1 in 3 typically, just to verify what you put on the FAFSA. And we're more than happy to help with that too. While we do it in-house here at ECTC, most of the other universities across the state use Kia Verify, so we're very familiar with that. Big on scholarship searches, helping with applications to different colleges. Because while we are housed here on ECTC's campus, we are more than happy to help you go wherever you would like, whether it be here, California, Alaska, whatever works for you. But that's the biggest thing, really, is just any barriers, as we have students sometimes that are foster children that don't have a clue as far as what they have available to them, and they can actually get tuition free if they do it within 5 years of graduation. So it's just educating those people in different areas. We do some career readiness as well. I did a presentation with the Career Club on different majors and different things like that last year at Marion County High School. Of course, this year's been a little different, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
But literally, I mean, we are here for anything to get a student into college because it is a big difference in a career path to getting an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. Either one can help someone get a much better position.
Absolutely. And so can you plug your information, Stacy, in case anybody has questions after our episode?
Absolutely. And I can also give it to you if you need to post it. My work cell phone number is 270-307-4868. And I take texts, calls, whatever. It may take me a little bit to get back to you, but I will. And my work email address is sbishop, BISHOP, 0007@kctcs.edu.
Awesome. And so thank you so much for speaking with us today about this college readiness. I know that that's a lot of the things that students have issues with and figuring out the FAFSA and all that good stuff. And so we'll definitely have Stacy back on the podcast again. Remember, tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. for another exciting episode of the FYE Talks podcast. And we'll see you later.
Have a great day.